Hello everyone. Hello, it's me, it's Mrs McKee. Here I am, back in my very chilly hut, ready for some more music. I hope you are too. I hope you've had a good week. I hope you had a look at the things I sent you for last time, and I hope you're ready for some actions. We're going to do a little bit more about Peter and the Wolf today, and we are going to be working on our climbing up an apple tree song too. But to start off with, let's stand up and get ourselves moving with a little hello song that we haven't done for a very long time. So up you get. You're going to need to wave your hands about like this. You're going to need to stamp your feet like this. And you're going to need to show me your heartbeats like this. And you're going to echo everything I say. Off I go. H-E-L-L-O. You do it. H-E-L-L-O. This is how we say hello. This is how we say hello. Move your feet to the beat. You do it. Move your feet to the beat. Can you feel your heart beat? You do it. Can you feel your heart beat? Did you get all of those? I'm going to do them one more time for you. Off I go. H-E-L-L-O. H-E-L-L-O. This is how we say hello. This is how we say hello. Move your feet to the beat. Move your feet to the beat. Can you feel your heart beat? Can you feel your heart beat? Did you manage that a bit better that time? Great. Okay, this time I'm not going to give you any clues. You just have to say it exactly as I did it, and we're going to go a little bit faster. Are you ready? Off we go. H-E-L-L-O. This is how we say hello. Move your feet to the beat. Can you feel your heart beat? Very good, everybody. That should have warmed you up a little bit. It has me, apart from the ends of my fingers. They're still pretty chilly. I might give them a rub. Well done. Okay, so time to sit down for now. And I'm going to move my microphone so that you can hear me a bit more clearly. Okay, so last time I saw you, we started a kind of a chant. Do you remember I said it was like a chant? A kind of a poem rather than a song, because it hasn't got any pitch. It doesn't have high or low notes or somewhere in the middle. We're just saying it. So I'm going to say it again for you just to remind you of how it goes, and then we're going to do something a little bit different with it today. So here I go. I went up an apple tree. All the apples fell on me. Apple pudding, apple pie. Did you ever tell a lie? Are you ready? Off we go. I went up an apple tree. All the apples fell on me. Apple pudding, apple pie. Did you ever tell a lie? How did you do? Did you remember all of it? Very good. Well done, you. Let's see if we can do the actions without saying the words with our speaking voices. I wonder if you can do it in your thinking voice. That should show us whether you can remember all the words or not. But still, do your actions to the pulse. Are you ready? Off we go. Think it in your head. How did you get on? Did you remember them all? Well done. Did you remember that the very last phrase when we do, did you ever tell a lie? We're only going to do 4 points for, because that's how many beats there are in the pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did you remember that? Excellent. Okay, so now I feel you should know that quite well. If you've been able to do it in your thinking voice, up in your head, then you should know the words quite well. If you don't, then maybe you just need to rewind and do that another time, just so that you really remember it ever so well. Okay, this time, what we're going to do is we're going to use our invisible claves. You know those rhythm sticks that you can tap together? I've got some invisible ones here, look. So we're going to do the same poem, the same chant, but this time we're going to tap the words whilst we say it. We're going to tap the words instead of doing the actions. Okay, so shall I show you the first sentence we call the first phrase? And this is what it should sound like. I'm going to say what I'm playing, what I'm saying. Off I go. I went up an apple tree. Do you see? I played the words as well as saying them. See if you can do it. Off we go. I went up an apple tree. Good job. Easy? Great. We'll do the next phrase then, the next sentence. I'll go first and then it's your go. Off I go. All the apples fell on me. You'll go. All the apples fell on me. My go. Apple pudding, apple pie. You'll go. Pudding, apple pie. Last bit. Would you ever tell a lie? You'll go. Did you ever tell a lie? Okay, so could you hear that you were saying the same thing as you were tapping? Hopefully. Great. If that was easy, then what I want you to do is do what we did earlier on. And now use your thinking voice. So you're going to say the words in your head and with your invisible claves. Cross fingers. Shall we do it me going first and then you, just to make sure? My go first. You'll go. My go. My go. My go. Your go. How did you get on there? Did you manage to do it, do you think? Did it sound the same here and here? Great. Okay, so we're going to do it all the way through this time, so no echoes. We're going to say it first, everybody together, and then the second time we do it, we're going to repeat it, and we're just going to tap the words and say them in our heads. Whilst you do that, I want you to listen really carefully for what's happening. What kind of patterns can you hear, especially when we do the tapping? Do you notice any patterns happening? Can you hear where there are some long sounds and some short sounds? Have a little listen while we do it. So we're going to say it first and then we're going to tap it. Everybody together. Are you ready? Off we go. I went up an apple tree. All the apples fell on me. Apple pudding, apple pie. Did you ever tell a lie? Excellent. So, did you hear any patterns whilst you were tapping those and saying the words in your head? Could you hear where there were some long sounds and some short sounds? I'm sure you did. Just listen to the first phrase while I tap it and see if you can work out where the longest sound in the phrase happens. Off I go. Is it at the end of the sentence, the end of the phrase, what word would it be on? I went up an apple tree. Very good. Listen to the next phrase. All the apples fell on me goes like this. Where's the long sound there, everyone? Is it at the beginning or the end? It's at the end again, isn't it? And what word is it on this time? All the apples fell on me. Can you hear that there's a pattern there? In those first two phrases, you have short sounds all the way up until you get to the rhyming word tree and me. Okay, I'm not going to give you a clue this time. What happens in phrase 3? Is it the same pattern? Apple pudding, apple pie. Have a think. Tap it to yourself. What happens there? What's happening with the pattern that time? Is it the same as it was before, or is it different? It's the same, isn't it? Short sounds and then long sounds on pie. So do you think we can guess what happens on phrase 4? Did you ever tell a lie? It's exactly the same again, isn't it? So this chant has a pattern, a rhythmic pattern, where each phrase, each sentence, has exactly the same rhythm, exactly the same pattern of short sounds and then one long sound at the end. If you're feeling very clever and you've got a few minutes to spare, maybe you could try writing out that pattern using one symbol, a symbol, not a crashing symbol, an image, a little picture, like some of us have done already, for a short sound, and then put a different symbol for a long sound. So you might want to go short, 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 long. You might want to put dots and dashes. If you're feeling super clever and you think you know what the symbol for a long sound and a short sound is, then that would be amazing. But if not, make up your own. Make sure you have 4 phrases, one underneath the next, and see what you come up with. You don't have to do it. You might just want to do it just for something else to do. Great. So we've done the rhythmic pattern of I went up an apple tree. And I chose that song. Do you remember that chant? Because Peter climbs the tree in the Peter and the Wolf story. So I hope you did manage to have a little listen to some of the music of Peter and the Wolf over this week. If not, what we're going to do today is we're going to listen to the very first little section. And this is the beginning of the story. It says in the music, the story begins. And you will hear in this music what we call a motif. M-O-T-I-F. It's called a motif. And basically, it's the tune that comes every time a character comes into the story. So we're going to listen to 2 of those motifs today. We're going to listen to the tune that represents Peter and the tune that represents the bird in the story. So Peter has gone out of the gate, out of his safe garden, and he's going into the meadow where he's going to meet his friend the bird. So let's see if we can get the CD working. If some of you did have a little listen, then that's splendid. I'm really pleased you did. But I remember saying that it's quite long, isn't it? So it might take a little while to get through all of it. But this, if you were to watch it, is basically after the introduction. And it's the very first section. Okay, so the story begins. Here comes Peter's melody. And I want you to tell me what you notice about each character's motif, each character's tune. Okay, so you're going to be listening to what makes it sound like Peter, what makes it sound like the bird. By the way, for any grown-ups watching, My version of Peter and the Wolf on my CD is narrated by Dame Edna Everage, which I think is absolutely spectacularly brilliant. You young people won't know who that is, but I don't know if any, maybe your parents don't even know who that is. They're probably way younger than I am. I think it's hilarious that it's Dame Edna Everage. Anyway, here we go. Let's go track 2. The story begins. So we're going to start off with hearing Peter's tune, Walking into the Meadow.
Early one morning, Peter opened the gate and went out onto the big green meadow.
So what kinds of instruments are playing Peter's tune? How would you describe the mood of the music? What does it tell you about Peter? Is he grumpy? Is he sad? It sounds quite happy and light to me, like he's skipping through the long grass. Ooh, but does that give us a little clue?
On a branch of a big tree,
Something else is going to happen.
sat a little bird, Peter's friend. All is quiet, chirped the bird merrily.
Can you hear? It's such a different kind of music, isn't it? Doesn't sound like Peter's tune at all. What instrument is playing? And what kind of mood does this show us? And there we are, back with Peter strolling through the meadow and the little bird flying above him. Know something else is going to happen in the story when we hear that. Lovely. So those are the first bits, the first 2 tunes with the first 2 characters in the story of Peter and the Wolf, Peter and the bird. So if you have a few more minutes, maybe if you're at school, you can do this with your teacher or your TA, or if you're at home, if your parents are listening as well, maybe you can have a little chat about how the music sounds like each character. So using some really good describing words to tell us what Peter's tune sounds like and what the bird sounds like. Maybe you can describe the movement of each character by the way that the music works. Just give me some lovely words that are conjured up in your mind when you hear those tunes. So I said that Peter's melody, his tune, sounded happy and light, and maybe the bird sounds high and fast. I think it sounds just like a bird song, actually. And maybe you can tell me which instruments are playing those tunes as well. So if you have some extra time, you could go and find that track on the link that I sent your teachers and maybe have another little listen to see if you can describe what's going on in the music. That would be fantastic. Great. So we're going to finish off today with another song that's very, very loosely linked on the story. It's called Cousin Peter. It's a very old traditional song and it's got lots of actions in it. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what the beginning tune is like so that you can sing it as well. And then we shall do different actions for each verse. So it's called Cousin Peter. It's all about an older relative who comes to visit, and he's called Cousin Peter, obviously. I think this is like an old version of the young Peter. Ooh, sorry about that. It's not doing what it's told today. There we go. And all the things he does when he comes to visit. So he does things like knocking on the door, and then he wipes his feet on the mat. It's the olden days, so he would have been wearing a hat, so he takes it off and he puts it on the hook. He makes himself at home, so he kicks his shoes off, and then he has a bit of a dance. So I'm going to teach you how the song goes to start off with, as I said, and then you're going to join in with me and see if you can sing along whilst we do some different actions. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my microphone up a little bit so that when we stand up, hopefully you should be able to hear it a bit better. Okay, so let's play the first verse so that you can have a listen. And then we're all going to try it together. So it goes like this. Last evening Cousin Peter came, last evening Cousin Peter came, last evening Cousin Peter came to show that he was here. Okay, so I'm going to sing the first bit and then you sing it after me. My go first, big breath. Last evening Cousin Peter came. I'll do it again for you. Off I go. Last evening Cousin Peter came. Your go. Last evening Cousin Peter came. Okay, and then the next phrase has the same words and the same pattern, but it's up a little bit higher in our voice. Okay, so my go first. Off I go. Last evening Cousin Peter came. I'll do it again. Off I go. Last evening Cousin Peter came. Last evening Cousin Peter came. Okay, so can you hear? It's similar, but not quite the same. I'm going to go from the beginning and then it's your turn. Off I go. Last evening Cousin Peter came. 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 You need a big breath at the beginning. There's nowhere to breathe in this song. Phrase 3, the third bit, is the same as the beginning. Easy. Last evening Cousin Peter came. Last evening Cousin Peter came. And then the very last bit, only different words in the song, and it goes from your high bit of your voice all the way down. My go. To show that he was here. I'll do it again. To show that he was here. Your go. To show that he was here. So I'll do the whole thing now and then it's your go. Off I go. Last evening Cousin Peter came. Last evening Cousin Peter came. Last evening Cousin Peter came to show that he was here. Do you see what I mean about needing a big breath? Are you ready? Have you taken a huge one? Off we go. Last evening Cousin Peter came. Last evening Cousin Peter came. Last evening Cousin Peter came to show that he was here. Whoa! Now, by the end of this song, you'll be able to sing that beautifully. But I think let's get on and do the actions. Okay, so we're going to have last evening Cousin Peter came, and then we're going to have knocked 3 times upon the door, and it's the same pattern each time. We sing the same words 3 times, and at the end, to show that he was here. And then it's wiped his feet upon the mat. So you're going to do all the actions exactly as the words tell you. Wipe your feet upon the mat, hang your hat upon the hook, kick your shoes off one by one. I wonder how many shoes you'll end up with at the end. And then we're going to dance about in stockinged feet, and then he's going to throw you up into the air, like lots of relatives do when they're pleased to see you, chuck you up in the air. And then he's going to imagine that you'd love to play a game with him, being a big bear. So you want to have great big bear movements. And at the very end, he decides he's had enough and he wants to go home. He's going to do a big bow and say goodbye. And it gets a bit slower there. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to move the mic so I don't knock it over. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the track. Are you standing up? Are you ready to sing Cousin Peter with me? Here we go. That's a mandolin playing.
Last evening Cousin Peter came, last evening Cousin Peter came, last evening Cousin Peter came to show that he was here.
So we're going to knock 3 times now.
He knocked 3 times upon the door, he knocked 3 times upon the door, he knocked 3 times upon the door to show that he was here.
Time to wipe your feet on the mat. You can't see mine.
He wiped his feet upon the mat, he wiped his feet upon the mat, he wiped his feet upon the mat to show that he was here.
Now we're going to hang your hat on the hook.
He hung his hat upon the hook, he hung his hat upon the hook, he hung his hat upon the hook to show that he was here.
Ready to kick your shoes off one by one.
He kicked his shoes off one by one, he kicked his shoes off one by one, he kicked his shoes off one by one to show that he was here.
So imagine you're in your socks, you're having a little
He danced about in stockings feet, he danced about in stockings feet, he danced about in stockings feet to show that he was here.
ready to throw you up into the air.
He threw us up into the air, he threw us up into the air, he threw us up into the air to show that he was here.
And then you're going to be a big bear.
He played he was a great big bear, he played he was a great big bear, he played he was a great big bear to show that he was here.
And then we're going to slow down and have a big goodbye bow.
He made a bow and said goodbye, he made a bow and said goodbye, he made a bow and said goodbye to show that he was gone.
Well done, everybody. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of energy to go and do what you need to do next. And hopefully you've enjoyed listening to our first section of Peter and the Wolf. And hopefully you'll have a little bit of time to write out something or discuss with your teachers or your grown-ups what you can hear when you listen to those 2 motifs. So when I see you next week, it might be fun if you could bring some kind of percussion instrument with you, like we did in the videos last summer. If you've made your own, fantastic. If not, just go and find something from the kitchen that makes a noise. Doesn't matter what it is, could be anything. Could be a biscuit tin, could be a box of pasta or rice. I really don't mind. But see if you can bring that along with you next time. Take care of yourselves in the meantime. I'll see you next week. Bye.